another session on the KickOff couch. We've invited a newcomer, Will, a diehard KickOff reader since the early days of '94. He was a bit surprised when I asked him to come join us wearing his Blue Bulls rugby shirt, but we want to prove that in KickOff we're not biased, we don't favour or disfavour anyone. He was in Orlando that time Blue Bulls came and he swapped. He's going to tell us why he thinks Pirates are going to win the league. He's got a good story. He says when he was at school, his teammates used to say, you shouldn't play rugby, you're too big, you shouldn't play soccer, you should play rugby. And then Cameroon arrived to play us in our first international fixtures, and he said, you see, you've got to be big to play football too, which is a good point, Will. We've got a whole new season kicking off. The real stuff of the league starts this weekend. I'll kick off with Will because he told me he's convinced Pirates are going to reclaim the title that hasn't been theirs for the last 2 years. So I want to hear from him first why he's so sure of that. Is it his heart or his head he's thinking with?
Actually, I'm not thinking with my heart, I'm thinking with my head. Because firstly, Pirates is going to keep the momentum. I mean, they've been signed too many players, they just signed few players just to beef up the squad. That means we're going to keep on with our previous team that won Nedbank, and that is key for us to reclaim our glory again.
You think winning the Nedbank kind of was like a breakthrough, because I think the whole club was feeling quite depressed and confused because they'd get to finals and they were losing each time. I think it was very difficult. Do you think the Nedbank got the belief back?
Definitely, we had quite few problems prior to the Nedbank. I mean, we had this, what you call, there was no spirit, and the players were demotivated. So once Vivi came on the board, we started to get up again and we started to play real football, and then you could see that we can challenge for the Nedbank, and that means we can be able to keep that momentum to the season start. When the season starts, as we showed against Kaiser Chiefs on the Black Label, that we are there. As much as we still have to score goals, and we still have a problem with scoring goals, and that is our key problem at the moment. If we can just make sure that we score goals and don't waste too much time on the central midfield of the play, and we just keep on moving forward, and we can take the league.
At least Pirates aren't the only club with that problem. We can say almost everyone in the league has that problem. But listening to Will talk about Vivi, I think Proff is one of the people who was laughing when Pirates fans embraced Vivi. He's one of the people that Pirates fans used to ridicule and make jokes about because he was the Chiefs manager. Now they love him at Pirates, and I don't know what they're thinking at Chiefs. Prof, I think you laughed when you were seeing all that on your blogs and in general watching the response. What are you thinking?
I think Pirates actually, when Vivi arrived, he started a little bit, but he started to get the combination well. But I think he's still going to struggle because the league is it's a long like marathon, and for Vivi, he's used to cup competition. He's good at that. Even when he was at Chiefs, he was good at that. But as the season gonna go like the way is long, I think it's gonna be also a struggle, also rotating the players as well for Pirates as well.
So if Vivi is gonna struggle and Pirates, is that good news for Chiefs? Do you think it means Sundowns continue their winning ways, or are there other clubs in the mix?
I think for this season, Chiefs are like underdogs because they didn't spend a lot of money also on the transfer market. So it's gonna be like, mostly it's gonna be Pirates and Sundowns, but Chiefs are gonna come like that. But they might take the league because the focus won't be on them, because most focus this season will be on Sundowns. There's roughly, I think, 7 players so far.
Only 7? What is going on? Only 7? Zola?
You know what's going to be the key this season? It's the most stable team. And right now the most stable team in the PSL is Kaiser Chiefs. Let me tell you why. 2 seasons ago they won the league, they won the Nedbank Cup. Last season they did very well. They were 8 points, they were leading Sundowns by 8 points because they kept the core of the team that won the league before. But since they didn't really have a home ground, they were playing in Polokwane, they were playing at FNB Stadium, they were also playing in Africa. So that caused them not. They didn't train like a lot last season as much as they did the first season that Stuart Baxter arrived with the team. And the key thing about Chiefs is people criticize them for not signing a lot of players, but that is the key. You cannot keep signing like 12 players like Sundowns did. Sundowns signed 12 players last season. They have signed like 10 this season. That's going to create instability.
Except they signed a lot last season and went and won the league.
I don't think they'll be able to do so this season.
Why not, guys?
For me, my favorites is Chiefs for this season.
Pirates has signed players that we needed most. Like the likes of Kalinga, he just came in and he fitted very well. Isasa came in and fitted very well. So with those two players playing for Pirates, I'm very grateful for Ivan Koza for signing those two players, because we needed such players like that in those two departments. That is why I'm saying that keeping the same team that played on the net bank and signing sign few players for us to go to the next season, it's a key to us, because as he claims that Kaizer Chiefs has not signed many players for this season, we have done the same. We haven't signed a lot of players. We only signed players that we believe are key to our positions. Like for instance, we had a problem with the defense last season, and that means we had to, whatever we do, we have to beef up our defense as much as we can. And also, we had a problem with striking force, so we had to sign either one or two strikers in order to make sure that we have that competition on the striking force. Same as like Charlie is not there anymore, so we had to sign in Isasa, and we had the problem with. Sikholela is not playing very well at the moment, so we needed a player like Kalinga to come in. So that is a key to us. So that means we are there to challenge the league. We will challenge the league.
I agree, the Pirate signings have looked good. I mean, anyone who watched Platinum Stars will know that Sa is a good player. People just maybe didn't pay attention because he wasn't at one of the so-called big clubs.
Pirates players are injury prone now. So who do they have as a backup?
But is that injury prone, or maybe it means the squad's a bit too small?
Look, no, they do have a very healthy squad. But the problem is that it's not balanced. You've got experienced players like Roy Mahamudza, like Elikhwati, the Sangwenis, the guys like Happy Gerald. But when those guys are not playing there, you can't just replace them with youngsters. They don't have good cover up that can match the standard of those guys. That's the big problem facing Pirates. And the Pirates team is designed to win a lot of cup games. It's designed to play well in cup matches. But can they do that in league matches where you have to play well for 10 months?
Which seems to be a theme. I'm just not sure are Chiefs quite that together themselves. I mean, you seem very confident, Prof, that
they are balanced to play in the league and in the cups games. But because now they're still also debating if they want to play in Africa. That's another thing for them, is should we go in Africa or should we just play in South Africa, and that's it. Because when they go in Africa, I think that's when the rotation of the players start to make them to struggle as well.
That did mess them up a bit. I won't be surprised if we don't see them in Africa. Just one little thing to throw in. I think I'm amazed we're underestimating Sundowns to the extent we are, but none of us are talking about Brad Joffe and his millions, and he's got that coach who's won 3 titles, Hunty. We know that Football Murph recently was saying he thinks Gavin Hunt can do it. I think it's going to be interesting to watch. But quickly, let's just look at the weekend, just very quickly. What are the fixtures? There's obviously the traditional Soweto derby. Which are the ones that stand out?
I think interesting game is Chiefs going to Fritz. That's a big one. Orlando Pirates hosting Swallows. Supersport Vets, Sanas Marisberg.
Supersport need to kind of bounce back. There's been all this talk about Coach Cabin, is he on his way out? Will Gordon Eggerson come in? They've got a lot to prove because they had a bad season by their standards. They're not a bad team, but they just didn't really click last season.
Also interesting to see how Chippa United also start the season after.
That'll be fascinating. And what kind of support they'll get. I think they'll get support at first. Will they sustain it? I don't know.
I think also Sundowns on Friday when they start the game, especially the league, the first league game, especially after losing in the MTN 8. So some of the Sundowns fans are not that happy. Yeah,
I think people must realize MTN 8, it's not a way of gauging the league. You know, Chiefs fans are very excited with their 4-0 win, but if Aces are that bad every weekend, they're gone. And we know Aces are better than they were that day. Likewise, Sundowns, they suffered at the start of last season in the MTN 8, and they made up for that very quickly in the league.
But their squad is way too unstable.
Well, it is crazy. You know, Pitcher told KickOff 2.5, 3 months ago, I'm only going to purchase with Africa in mind, and it doesn't look like that at all. I would, if I had Africa in mind, I'd have kept Ove Warmer, because that's a good, solid guy to have on the bench and to go and do the business. So that is a question.
I think Sundowns this season will be more focused on the CAF Champions League and the cup competition as well.
I think that is just one of his game plans, to play with our minds. He's not going to focus on that only. He has to challenge for the local cups as well.
Have to challenge for everything. We expect them to win because they have money.
Yeah.
And maybe that benefits Chiefs and Pirates. Yeah. And as I said, watch Brad Joffrey and his millions. Okay.
But that you challenge what Doda saying about the Chiefs got a balanced team. Then they must go and play in the Champions League as well. Then we see, because Paris did go to play in the Champions League.
Point.
And we gauge them there that they can play in the local league and in the Champions League, and so that they can be able to make sure that at least they can qualify for the top 8, which is very difficult to play in Africa, if you play both here in South Africa and around
That's
Africa.
A good point, Will. And I challenge people who said Pirates had a bad season. To reach 4 cup finals is a great achievement. It's a bit unlucky to lose 3, but they had a very difficult campaign in Africa, and they still managed to compete in many other cups. So if Chiefs don't go into Africa, it will make their job easier. And I think it will be a distraction for Sundowns. Who knows what it will mean for Wits. They don't have that experience. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's another exciting season on our doorstep, and we'll have lots to argue about on the couch in the forthcoming months. Thanks for Will, the worst dressed Buccaneer today.
Best club in South Africa.
Thanks, guys.